I am the voice of Snowbird Nation, Mike Searcy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Mike Searcy, and I'm the founder and CEO of Snowbird Nation, brokered by EXP. And today we want to share with you some of the great things about both Snowbird Nation and the EXP opportunity. With me today, I have one of our top leaders on Snowbird Nation, Mr. Steve Richardson, who has been actually just screaming as a relatively new agent and just basically just killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. And I'll tell you what, part of that is just catching on and coming into a brand new profession. And I want to actually let Steve kind of share some of that opportunity with you right now. Steve Richardson, take it away.
Hey, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you so much. And of course, that's Dr. Mike Searcy, also known as the professor. And he is a living professor, especially for real estate agents. So I'm so happy to be on a team with a mentor like the professor. Again, I'm Steve Richardson. I am the musician. And just by title, yeah, I like to play music. I like to play guitar, and I like to have a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and have some fun with this. Here we are. We're going to show you the model for Snowbird Nation, brokered by EXP Realty. And we're going to start right here from the get-go. We're going to start with the founder and CEO, Mr. Glenn Sanford. Now, this guy, absolute genius, started this whole internet cloud brokerage back in 2000 and 2009, and he was working for the time for Keller Williams. Made $60 million, or he closed $60 million worth of transactions in 1 year. And he went back to Gary Keller, who owns Keller Williams, and he asked him, he said, hey, what can you do for me here? I feel like I'm a pretty good agent, closing $60 million in transaction. He's like, what are you can you give me anything here to keep me happy? And basically, Gary Keller came back and said, hey, I'll give you 1%. Well, story goes, Glenn was pretty insulted by that whole 1%. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I think I can do it better. And that's when EXP was born. EXP stands for expansion. The whole charter is written into growing a business and sharing back with the shareholders, which are the agents themselves, and we'll get way more into that as we go through it here. So let's talk about innovation.
Let's do
innovation. Yeah, I mean it's everything that happens in today's environment is either internet driven, technology driven. Brick and mortars are going away. We look at our history, we look at recent history where that was just the dominating force. It is no longer, and this is just another great example of that. So we like to look at, real relevant items. At the turn of the century, Blockbuster. Everybody had a Blockbuster card at the turn of the century. That's where you got your videos. And, we also had the option to go to mom and pops. Well, if you combine those two, what ended up happening? Netflix came in, took them over. Another great example, Circuit City and Kmart. If you combine those two businesses, which are no longer in business, but if you combine those two, what do you have? Well, you have the cloud-based business called Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole industry changed. It absolutely dynamically changed. And so let's look at brokerages now. So traditional rental, real estate brokerages have always been brick and mortar. It's been your Century 21 down the street. It's been your Remax up on the corner, and or your Keller Williams, some big office building. EXP is riding that same exact technological wave of being a cloud-based company where we took away brick and mortar and changed the way that brokerages are dealing today. And that's exactly what's happening right now. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Like I'm pretty sure, when you got into EXP, how amazing was it that you were able to just jump on your computer and just take a class, and you could pick the classes and schedule them any way that you wanted?
Oh, absolutely. And if we're talking training, there's over 60 hours worth of training every week. And so I can get on the world, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I can get on the world and I can get on the computer. I can get into the cloud-based environment. I can attend classes Always. I mean, the business hours of every day, every week, it happens. Classes are always being taught by really experienced and very fantastic people, and they're happening all the time. And anything you need, you can pretty much find that training immediately.
Right, right. What about corporate offices? I mean, all these brick and mortars closing. All of a sudden, now we don't have an office space. Mike, what's the solution that EXP came up with for office space?
Well, I'll tell you, when you join EXP, you don't get an official office that you have to pay for, but EXP owns and distributes to every one of its agents a free membership to the Regis office system. And that Regis office system, the world's largest temporary co-office co-sharing space, and so you can have access to an office to meet clients and in the open spaces and all those, from Phoenix to Paris to London, internationally, all over the world. Regis exists.
As far as locations, here in the US, there's 1,100 locations of Regis, and worldwide, 3,000 locations worldwide. Just took that right off the internet, Mike.
All right.
What do you think about the training? Have you gone through any of the courses recently?
Oh, yes, I have. In fact, not only have I gone through them, I've actually picked up a couple of certifications by sitting in those courses online. And I will tell you that those certifications have actually translated into dollars. Recently, I spent the time in the commercial advisor certification, and shortly thereafter wound up with a couple of commercial deals that wound up, oh my goodness, netting me much more than the time I spent in those classes. And I spent that time in those classes from the comfort of my own home. That's the beautiful part about it.
Awesome, awesome. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go to the world. And we had mentioned this a little bit earlier. What does it mean to actually be a cloud-based brokerage? Well, that also means that, when you want to engage with other brokers, your designated broker in your state, or brokers worldwide, or even other agents, you come to the world. And what does that mean? So let's look at this. You actually become an avatar. You design your own little avatar, and you can walk around this cloud-based system. Now, this is really Zoom on steroids, if you will. There's so much functionality with this software, and it'll take you from going through seminars, one-on-one interactions with IT, so many different venues that you can go through, so many different trainings. And ironically, within 2 minutes of being in this, especially if you go to a class, you'll just feel like you're on a Zoom call. It's again, from the comfort of your own home. You can sit on your sofa and do this. Here I am, I'm going to the Arizona State Room, going to visit my designated broker, and so on and so forth. And it is basically a virtual world. Mike, what do you think here?
I think it actually saves most agents the real opportunity of having to get dressed, get in the car, drive down to a corporate office to try and catch the broker in charge and get answers to questions that they're going to make phone calls to get the answers to anyway. And in this case, all the people that work for corporate with EXP, they work from home, but they work in the world. So during office hours, all you have to do is pop in the world, sometimes take a ticket so you actually know what number it's going to take to be served in a waiting line, and you could actually get all your questions answered and never leave your home.
All right, so let's go to Mike's favorite topic.
Mike's favorite topic. Stocks and money.
Let's talk about money.
One of the great things about EXP that it goes above and beyond nearly every other company out there. And I challenge you to ask the question that Glenn Sanford asked at the very, very beginning of EXP. And one of the reasons that he launched EXP, go back to your broker and say, look, if I do this much work for you, can I have some equity ownership in the company? I challenge you to do that, because the likely answer is going to be a big fat goose egg and no. And see, one of the things that EXP is about is we encourage broker, agent owners. And how we do that is through the purchase and the awarding of stock. EXP Realty actually is on the NASDAQ and trades under the code of EXPI. And that stock, you get awarded stock for, for your first closing every year. You get awarded stock for the things that happen. So, when you earn shares on your first transaction, you earn shares when you fully cap. You earn shares when an agent you sponsor closes their first transaction. You can earn shares, to get your entire money, your cap back after so many deals in the process of the year. And that recycles every year. But here's the interesting thing. Just for doing my job during the first year of my time at EXP, by the end of that year in December, I had $25,000 worth of stock for doing my job. Now, part of that, of course, came from the agent equity program, which is on the bottom here on this slide, where they take, and you can enroll in this too, and it's a great retirement plan. You can take 5% of every one of your commissions that come from EXP to your pocket. And who's going to miss 5%? Most people don't. So 5% of your commissions to purchase stock, and they will do this continually, to purchase stock in your name at the average. They take the average price of the stock from the previous month, deduct 10%, and you get a 10% discount on the average price from the previous month. And that will build and build and build and build. You add that to the awards of stock that you get throughout the year. And for the first year, mine was $25,000. That to me was just an amazing bonus in the whole idea of equity. And now I can honestly say, because I own all this stock, and every one of us can say that too, that we are agent owners.
Not to mention, as what we're going to go into right now, which is the reason that most people are tuned into this right now. It's this thing called revenue share. And I want to take you through it just real quick. Revenue share, it's actually quite simple when you think about it. So you talk about an agent, 1 to 4 agents right here. If you tell or you share this opportunity with somebody, up to about 4 agents, for each one of those agents, when they cap, that's how much money the company is going to share back with you, not the individual. It's not coming out of, somebody's pocket. It's not coming out of Mike's pocket. It's not coming out of my pocket. That the company's going to share that revenue back with you at the tune of $2,800 per year for each agent that caps within that qualified year. You can take that further and you can show 5 to 9 or 10 to 14, and you start unlocking bigger tiers. And so it basically, more money will be shared back to you. And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it when you look at it in a matrix like this and say, well, what does that really mean on a bottom line? So let's take you through. And I'm going to give you a basic annual example of just a common agent, a normal scenario, where we have a normal agent. He's selling about 5 properties a year, or doing about 5 transactions a year. And say those transactions are at an average of $350,000, and the average commission on that is about 3%. Mike, what do you think? Does that sound like kind of an average scenario for an agent?
It could very easily be a typical scenario in the Phoenix market, sure. And I suspect that at least this will resemble situations around the country.
Just under this basic example, extra income model, say you introduce personally 4 people to EXP Realty and Snowbird Nation.
Okay.
They join the team, they get on, and say they just have a couple people join in themselves. You're really unlocking tier 1 in this case, right? Because you need to have 5 to unlock tier 2. So what does that really translate into? So you're looking at it here. We have $7,350 that of revenue. So basically, you're walking away with $7,350 at the end of the year for doing nothing but showing 4 people this model, this example. And I don't know what you could do with $7,350, but that's a lot of money just to share this thing, to do your job. So, okay, so basically, now at this point, you have 100 people in your business. And on that tier 1, you're getting about $18,375. Again, this is based on a very normal example. On level 2, you're getting $210,000. Now just sit there and just kind of absorb that. And then on level 3, because you are getting, you did unlock level 3 with 10 people, 262,500, a total upwards of $500,000 a year in revenue share alone. I don't know if that makes you melt. It makes me melt, and it's really something that separates what the EXP model does from any other traditional brokerage that we have. It just separates it. So just to kind of reemphasize this just a little bit more, let me take you through one more example, and we're going to talk about a retirement wealth plan. So let's talk about how much money do you need in the bank to make about a sustainable wage. And let's say that sustainable wage is about 15 grand a month. Well, at 4% interest, you would need approximately 4.5 million in the bank. That would give you about $180,000 in interest. Divide that by 12, it's going to give you about $15,000 a month in income. Let's look at the EXP revenue share plan. Say you take 10 agents, and again, when you personally sponsor somebody in, the first tier, once they cap, so these agents have to cap, is $2,800 that you can bring in. So you do the simple math on those 10 agents, it's about $28,000 a year. But say again, those 10 agents sponsor 10 agents of their own that's doing the same exact thing you are, and that is you're working the business, the core business, and actually doing transactions. When they cap, you're getting $3,200 a year per person. That's $320,000 a year. And when you add those two together, we're getting $348,000. But let's agree and say, we know that not every single one of them are going to go ahead and cap, because that's just not realistic. So let's just cut it in half. Let's say 50% of these people that you introduce to this business, to EXP, and they actually do cap. When you cut it in half, it's 180,000, and you can see the tie-in here between 180,000. It's again $15,000 a month. So you choose it. Would it be worth it to do the 4.5 million in the bank? Absolutely. If you can save that much money, my hat's off to you. Go for it. Or look at what your opportunity is here to share this model with a couple other people and start producing income like a millionaire thereof.
Right. In other words, what's the investment to get involved with EXP? What is that investment? And I'll tell you, there are, and just kind of going back just a moment here, there are 7 different ways that you can actually earn income at EXP. And if you never want to recruit anybody, you can still make a very nice living wage here just selling real estate commissions, because commissions are only one of those ways to make money. But to get in, what's it going to cost? Okay, so to join EXP, it's $149 startup fee. Okay, that gets you into and that includes your first month of all your fees. So that gets you into your technology fee, education, access to the world. You get access to KV Core, which is the Ferrari of CRMs, to actually deal with customers and prospects and follow up, because the fortune, as we all know in real estate, the fortune's in the follow up. And if you haven't figured out how to automate your systems, then you need to come on over here. Okay, so after that first 149, there's a $50 a month tech fee. That gets you access to all the technology we're talking about, KV Core, et cetera. $35 a month to the EXP University fee. And that basically means all that education we were talking about, you get access right there. For each one of your deals, whether you're doing the deal or you're doing the deal with somebody else or dividing the commissions up with somebody, if you're working as a duo or a pair or something like this, there's a $25 broker review. So if there's more than one person, that's like $12.50 then, but per deal. So the broker looks it over, makes sure you're in compliance, et cetera. Your $40 risk management fee. This is E&O insurance to those of us who are old enough to they're still calling it E&O insurance. Nowadays they call it risk management, but that's basically what your costs are for investing into what EXP is about. But how are you actually getting this money back? And that's what we're going to talk about. When you come to EXP, you have the choice of either working as an independent agent
or as a member of a team. If you're an independent agent, let's flip over to the right side of the slide now, and you can see where it says commission and cap. So if you are not a member of a team and you are an independent agent, your cap is $16,000. That means when you actually have gross commission coming in, and this is what scares some people who are coming from those 100% companies, for example, because, I don't have to pay anything, well, you know what you pay, you get what you pay for, right? Just remember that. So, okay, so commission and cap. So it's an 80-20 split until you get to 16,000. Nothing happens in EXP unless real estate is sold, and this is actually why we're the number one fastest growing real estate company in the world right now. I'm not talking country, I'm talking world. And as such, 80%, 20%. It's that 20% that needs to equal $16,000 before you can recycle. And that 20% is also where the money comes from to actually pay 7 levels above you that actually was responsible for introducing you to the company. And that's the revenue share where that money comes from that Steve was just talking about previously. You can either do that or you can join Snowbird Nation.
Folks, this is where we have actually redesigned the idea of what a 21st century team ought to look like. Most teams are usually headed by the grand ego. This is the person who is the team is named after, and it's usually named after a single person, and that ego is the person, and he gathers all these people. It's that cult of personality, and he gathers all these people around him, and these are the people that are now competing against each other, but sharing the same name, the same team name of the person in charge. Snowbird Nation kind of takes a lot of that out of that because we're all about cooperation, not competition. And we're all about getting everyone else to succeed. Snowbird Nation. So if you join a standard team with EXP, your cap drops from 16,000 to 8,000. It's an immediate halving to EXP. Now, having said that, we also have a standard team split here of 75-25. So 25% of the gross commission goes to the Snowbird Nation operating budget. 75 goes to the team, to the members of the team that worked the deal. And then there's that 80-20 split that we just talked about. But here's the interesting thing. After you cap, in either case, you'll earn 100% of commission, and that even includes, and this doesn't happen on a lot of other teams, and in fact, I don't even know another team in EXP that does it, but that even includes your 25-75 split with Snowbird Nation. So when you cap with EXP, every year, you also cap with Snowbird Nation. So there's a cutoff, and this is how we're keeping and getting producers to come on board and say, I love what you're doing. I love the culture. I love how it's going. And that's where it is. Now, if you actually do X number, I believe the number is 20. If you actually do X number of deals beyond as an independent agent, I'm going to flip back up to the top of that page, top of that slide for just a quick moment. If you actually do 20 more deals after that $16,000 cap, you get all $16,000 back in stock. So, it's nice for you to tell me you're a producing agent from a 100% company. Why don't you come over here and be a producing agent at better than 100% company?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Snowbird Nation leadership. We have our two founders. One is Mike Searcy, who's on the phone with us right now. Who's on the Zoom call with us right now, I should say, and Brooks Mashmeyer, he's also the co-founder. So we got the CEO and the vice president. These two work like yin and yang, the professor and the prospector. The professor does exactly what he, what the title suggests. That is, he has his PhD in communications. He's an educator, he's a trainer, he's a coach. And he was licensed since 1998. He understands the business. And if you ask him, he'd say, well, I had a really damn good mentor. And I believe he did, because Mike is one heck of a mentor. He's a strategic innovator, and he is a replicable systems designer, which is right at my forte as well, as in process. Then Brooks, you've got this guy, he's got his background in construction and investment properties. But his real forte is prospecting, in other words, lead generation. And he does this both, through social media and boots on the ground. I mean, if you need somebody to help you door knock, there's nobody better than Brooks Mashmeyer. And as far as social media and all of those things combined, he will show you exactly what you need to do in order to lead generate. So between those two, what a team, and they're leading Snowbird Nation as they go through. But specifically, Mike, if you want to talk about just specifics, what Snowbird Nation is going to offer to anybody that decides that they want to join and come on board.
Oh, sure. And this is really just a quick overview. Mentorship, coaching, and training. We do real estate, of course, right? Because let's face it, if you're new to real estate, and especially those of you that may have just gotten your real estate license, remember, the school taught you the law, not the practice of real estate.
That's right. That's right.
And so mentorship, not only in how to actually practice real estate, but social media, how to attract attention so that people are looking at you going, oh, you're in real estate and you have credibility and I trust you. And those issues can be the difference between making a career or turning this into just a hobby that you do for a little while till you get tired of paying fees. So we're going to actually then train and coach and actually even door knock with you if we have to, lead generation and contracts and strategy and problem solving, prospect relationship training and the CRM and things like this. We go from there to inside sales agent support. We have people, if you don't like the phones, and you really need to become comfortable with them, of course, but if you really don't like them and can't hit them every day to get on that phone to call prospects, we can actually relieve you of some of those duties and actually give you the opportunity to actually focus on what you're happy doing, what you're good at, and find your sweet spot. See, one of the things about most real estate agents is they try to be all things to all people in the real estate process. And when you do that, you got a client and you take him all the way down the process. Once you get to closing, you've been focusing on them all this time. Once you get to closing and you get paid, you all of a sudden and suddenly find yourself unemployed. So we talk about pipelines. What part of the pipeline are you best at, enjoy the most, and are really excited about? And if that's the case, focus on that and let other team members focus on the other aspects to support your pipeline. And that's what we're doing with inside sales, advertising support. We have our own graphic designer. We do our own public relations. We help you with that. When you cap with EXP, you cap with Snowbird Nation. We talked about that a little while ago. And we have access to vendors nationwide. So as far as getting some of access to the freebies and the things that you can get to help your business from vendors, we're very good at negotiating that and actually helping you do just the same. And then, of course, recruitment support. Hey, this video is one of those things. If you like this video and it speaks to you and it resonates with you, the likelihood is it will resonate with someone else. And so you'll have the opportunity to even share the video like this to try and get people on board. That plus your testimony and your experience will certainly go a long way to actually building a revenue share if that's a route you'd like to go.
The growth from 2013, it was probably like less than 300 agents. In 2021, we already crossed the threshold of 50,000. Yeah, and we're growing stronger and stronger every single day, every day. As far as core values, what is it that really drives EXP? Aside from expansion and giving back to its shareholders, which are its real estate agents, the one that I really like to focus in on is fun. And that's exactly what this team and this company is enabled, is for us to not only do the business, but have fun doing it.
Well, let me go ahead and just say this. If this video is resonating with you, this video was probably shared with you by somebody. And whoever that person is, I'd like you to call them back or email them back and have another conversation with them about some of your questions and specifics. And quite frankly, if they have more questions if you have questions they can't answer, then they're going to reach out to us, and they're welcome to do that, as are you. Okay, so if you want to design your future now, where your real estate dreams take flight here at Snowbird Nation or simply at EXP Realty, go back to that person who shared the video with you and pursue the conversation. And if not, call 855-726-726. Yes, I reordered the telephone number.
Woo-hoo!
Why? Because 726 is SBN Snowbird Nation. And if that's not good enough, then send us all an email at info@snowbirdnation.us.
All right. We'll see you guys there. Take care.